In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast, we are going to finish up Quarter Life Crisis. I know we're on episodes 5 and 6, but
I feel like a quarter of my life has passed by.
It probably has. It's a lot of information to get in, and it's important stuff. So, I mean, that's the important thing. So, yes, Quarter Life Crisis, part 5, and we'll see if we can wrap that up. And we may have a part 6, but
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. And as usual, we're giving away free stuff. Hang in there, folks. We'll be right back.
This sounds like something for the authorities in Detroit.
Well, joke's on you. I'm living to 102 and then dying, like the city of Detroit.
Guys like this antique over here out of Detroit.
Spawned in the hellfires of Motown.
Take him to Detroit.
No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
Stationed in Drambuie. It's worse than Detroit.
We did not have, as a unit, the confidence that we felt like we needed to beat Detroit.
Let's go to Detroit.
Now you're talking, brother.
I don't think so. He plays for Detroit now.
Do they have many farms in Detroit?
Detroit. It's in Michigan.
I go to school. I know where Detroit is.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, my friends? This is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist. We're back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast.
What's up?
What's up, Matt Fox? That's the other voice you hear.
I'm just relaxing.
He's sitting across the table from me, and
my feet are up.
We're hanging out, doing a podcast.
Yes, we are.
Here in the palatial Southfield Podcast Your Voice studios.
Okay, I'll sit up.
Having a drink. You don't have to sit up because it's palatial. It's your own palace. You can do whatever you want.
It's polite.
Yeah, but you have to be polite with me.
Oh, come on.
It's crazy.
No! No! Don't shut me up!
I could be somewhat professional. Come on.
Like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
I don't know at all.
So again, we're here doing a podcast. Let me tell you, first of all, folks, where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Check it out. You can get information regarding a show. You can get information regarding personal sessions. If you want to stop smoking, if you want to lose weight, if you want to reduce anxiety, if you want to conquer insomnia.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an athlete, I do a lot of work with professional and amateur athletes in the Detroit area for sports performance enhancement.
Really? Can you teach them how to hang on to that frickin' ball?
I could do that. Although I get what you're saying, but I mean,
I know
you're gonna have a hiccup here and there. That's just what happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out the website, especially if you're interested in the show. Honestly, my fall schedule is really open right now. So
cool.
I don't have anything scheduled till December. So if you're looking for like a holiday gathering for a corporate event, the hypnosis shows are great for corporate events because we can work in a lot of things as far as just having fun in the comedy portion of it.
Mm-hmm.
We can also put in, suggestions as far as, performance improvement and motivation and things like that will help your company. So
you will give them an exceeds expectations.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
You will give them
I'm very important. I have many leather-bound books, and my apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Oh,
everyone gets a 15% bump in pay.
You will give me your money. So yeah, check out the website. My social media links, Facebook and YouTube, both Motor City Hypnotist, and Snapchat and Instagram are both Motor City Hypno. That's HYPNO.
Yeah.
Motor City Hypno.
Perfect.
And as we do every single episode that we've ever done, I think we're on episode, I believe we're on 277 today.
Gonna hit the 300.
We're gonna hit the 300. We're gonna have to do something for that one.
Yes, we will.
Maybe we'll like do a combined man cave happy hour.
Hey, this is Sparta.
And, it's crazy. We could do that. So yeah, free hypnosis guide. Text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510. Again, that's 313-800-8510. You can find that in the show notes. You can also go right to my website. The number is right there. Text it right to the number you see on the website.
Right.
Text the word hypnosis. You'll get it. You can also text that number. You can also call that number. It's pretty much an all-in-one number on the website.
What about 3 a.m.?
The bot will answer you.
That's what I wanted to know.
It's set up. It's set up. You'll get a response, and everything is designed on the website that you can get. You can for a show you can get a quote within minutes without anyone ever seeing it. It's all set up. It's automated. As far as in-person sessions, you can complete a form, enter all your information, and send it, and it'll come right to our office for you to schedule. So it's pretty much hands off. So check that out.
All right.
And either make an appointment or book a show.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Do it.
And the important thing, wherever you're listening, whatever platform you're on, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, there's millions of them. I don't even know anymore.
Spitfire,
iTutelage. I don't know. It's crazy.
Just like and subscribe.
What in blazes are you talking about?
Yeah. Like and subscribe and connect or whatever you have to do on your platform. And the big thing is leave a review. The reviews help a lot. In fact, if you text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510, you're going to get a link with your hypnosis guide. It's also going to give you a Google link to leave a review. Now you can leave a review of the podcast. You can leave a review of the show. If you've seen one of my shows, if you see me in person, you can leave a review for that. So you can leave a review for a lot of things. If you've not seen me, leave it for the podcast because that's where you're hearing this from.
Love it.
Fantastic. All righty.
Here we go.
It's time.
All right.
That's how winning is done.
All righty. So these stories come up fairly often, I feel like.
Okay.
Hero passenger lands plane after her pilot suffers a cardiac arrest.
I heard about this.
Yes, this was just in the last couple weeks. Picture it. You're happily sitting aboard a plane and the pilot fails over unconscious. It's the stuff of nightmares in Hollywood movies, but for one Californian, it was all too real. On what was supposed to be a flight from Las Vegas to Monterey, the twin-engine aircraft was diverted to Bakersfield before the pilot went into cardiac arrest.
Bakersfield! Bakersfield! Go on.
A brave female passenger took the helm and received instructions from Kern County Air Traffic Control Tower at the airport at Meadows Field, where County Airport Director Ron Brewster spoke to NBC about the ordeal. We were able to get fire, ambulance, and everybody on standby, so as the aircraft came into a stop, they were getting medical attention in seconds, he said. Audio released by the Kern County Airport Authority captured some of the instructions given to the passenger, who was instructed to keep her airspeed at around 132 miles per hour. Both GNN and Discovery Channel's Mythbusters have shown that passengers possessing no flight experience whatsoever can be talked into landing a plane successfully. We've seen it. I don't know if you saw that Mythbusters.
I did.
Yeah. Now, I will say I'm a little bit of an aviation geek as far as just watching things. I have flown. I've flown in private planes, actually.
Okay.
Sidebar, way back when, like when I was a teenager, I was in a youth group at church.
Okay.
And one of the guys there, one of the men there had a private pilot's license.
Fun.
And he's like, "Hey, let's go out you want to go flying this weekend?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So we got to Metro Airport, take off, flew all around downriver, let me take controls for a while.
Nice.
Super cool. And it was just a 2-seater Cessna, like small, single engine plane. Yeah. It was super cool. I have also been skydiving.
Okay.
So that was a small plane.
Yeah.
With 5 people packed into it if you count the pilot and the flight instructor. That was an experience too. Just a little single engine you know.
Yeah, but you're jumping out of a perfectly great plane.
Well, sure you are. Yeah. And they tell you that it's a funny thing that I did this with my dad when I was in probably my young 20s.
Right.
We both went out. You do 2 days of training. You jump on the third day.
Right.
It's kind of how it works. So so when we get into the plane, they say this plane takes off. There's no you're not gonna you have to jump.
Yeah.
You cannot ride the plane back down.
Right.
There's no chickening out, in other words. So if we have to push you out, we'll push you out.
Right.
That's what they tell you.
Want to hear something funny real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
Something that just came across my feed was the sky jump, the skydive, the Red Bull skydive, Felix Baumgartner, when he jumped
from space.
From space, 129,000 feet.
Uh-huh.
Right. It just came across my feed and I'm watching it. And they actually had the camera on his suit.
Yes.
So you could see him in his arms, he's falling.
Yeah. Just falling for
forever.
Hours, it felt like for that video, for sure.
Go on.
So anyway, small plane. The best thing to do in the situation is to get in contact with an air traffic controller. You think?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty obvious.
SOS.
The name of the woman has not been released, which is unfortunate.
Right.
That's the only thing missing from the story. Nor details about how many were on the flight. But Brewster said she was dealing with the tragedy as best she could.
Was it a flight attendant or was it a...
No, it was a small plane. So it was a passenger.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they said it was a 2-engine aircraft.
See, I read a different story where the pilot of a major airline had suffered a heart attack.
Yeah.
And I think one of the flight attendants or the co-pilot had to step in. Yeah, he just keeled over from massive coronary.
You know what? This is not... I've heard this story before. This has happened before.
Sure.
Of pilots having heart attacks when they're flying, which is weird.
Yeah, they're drinking too much.
I don't know. Or maybe it's the stress of flying, of managing an airplane. I don't know. It just seems weird though, because like I said, this story comes up probably once every few years.
Frequently.
Yeah, it does come up frequently. Brewster said she was dealing with the tragedy as best she could, referring to the unfortunate ending that the pilot took. Oh boy, this is a I'll read it.
Read it.
I'm going to read it. I don't like the way the story ends. Referring to the unfortunate ending that the pilot took the 7:30 a.m. nonstop to heaven.
For goodness sake.
And was pronounced dead at the hospital. That's the last line of the story.
My goodness.
Yeah, I don't like that last line of the story. That's a little disrespectful, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
And they didn't release her name, but definitely a hero. I mean,
yeah.
I've always thought, and I've told you, I think I brought it up. I'm sure I brought it up on the podcast before. I've messed around with Flight Simulator on my computer for many years. I mean, and it's just like, I could probably do this. I mean, in my head,
right?
I think that, but it's probably not true.
It's the fight or flight,
right?
Will you be able to?
Well, sure, yeah. When it really counts, yeah. If you're on a video game, it's easy,
right?
Or easier, I'll say. But so yeah, I mean, it's a good story. And unfortunately, the pilot passed, but yeah, for somebody to take over and get talked down, that's always a great story.
Love it.
Cool. It's our winner of the week.
How winning is done.
Yes, it is.
I'll go back. Go ahead.
So, back to it.
So the beginning of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you don't really understand. Yes, it's very stressful up in the air for the pilots and everything, but the people down on the ground and the air
traffic controllers,
the vernacular that these folks have is crazy.
Yes.
And if you watch back from the 70s, mind you, but if you watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind, that first opening scene where the air traffic controller is trying to get people to understand where each other are, but everyone else is seeing this bright light. He's like, do you want to report a UFO? And they're like, I don't even know what I would put on there. But yeah, just the vernacular that these guys have.
Well, and in the other, I'll bring up another air traffic control show that Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
When what's her face's dad just after she passes, just mentally Q
just Q
just Q okay, what's the actor's name?
You would ask.
I have it on the tip of my tongue. I can't. Delancey. John Delancey.
John
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
There we go.
God, that was going to
Yeah.
bug me for the next 3 days.
It was going to bug me. That's why I had to bring it out.
All right.
So, yeah. All right, folks, we're talking about, we are going to finish up on quarter life crisis. So I'm just going to review quickly.
Please.
You know, the whole idea of a quarter life crisis was a study done, and the study link is in the show notes if you want to actually read that. Studies are typically not pleasure reading. It's a lot of scientific jargon and a lot of data.
Yeah.
But if you want to read the actual study itself, the link is in the show notes. So you could take a look at that if you want. But the whole idea here is, you know, for when you're from ages like 17 or 18 up to like 24, 25, there's this I guess realization, or maybe it's an epiphany of some type, that I have no idea what I want to do.
Yep.
I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I want to do for a living.
I thought I did, but now I'm not sure.
You know, I'm being forced into adulthood, you know, and all these thoughts like, oh, is this really all there is? I have to get a job and work from my 9 to 5 and commute and then go to sleep because I have to go to work again tomorrow. And it really, it's kind of a culture shock for young people. And I mentioned this in one of these episodes on quarter life crisis. Even in my shows, when I do grad night shows, I always say, let me be one of the first to welcome you to adulthood. And most of the time they cheer and clap. Over the last couple of seasons,
not so much.
No, it's just a different reaction. So I'm kind of backing off on that now, because the reactions are like, oh, you know, just like that. I think for whatever reason, and this would be something interesting for a study to be done. Like what is causing this regression in young people as far as just getting on with life? And I don't want to say it in a critical way, because this is a real issue for them. But most, again, as children, we think, oh, it'd be great to be an adult. I'll be free. I can do whatever I want.
Right.
But when that time comes, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but you still have to be responsible, because you have to support yourself. You have to be a functioning human being in society.
I have opinions as a younger father raising, you know, very intelligent, in my mind, successful kiddos.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see the younger generation coming through, and you're right. Even at the ripe age of 12 to 18 now, they're just like got that mentality of, why? Why do I have to do that?
Right.
And it's up to the parent or the guardian or something to motivate them to want to be successful.
Well, and I think you can have a desire to be successful. I think you can have that feeling like, I want to be successful, but then be like, I don't know how to do it.
Right.
What is involved with this? How much work do I have to put in? How many years is it going to take?
And that's where the regression is.
Yes,
coming
exactly. And that just overwhelms people. So really, you know, when you look at the research on this quarter life crisis, is that, again, back to the idea that teenagers feel like they don't have freedom. They want freedom, so they think adulthood will give them freedom. When in fact, it's the opposite.
They have to earn it.
You have much more freedom as a teenager than you do as an adult.
I would love to go back to being a teenager.
No, absolutely. And who wouldn't? Because you don't have any responsibilities per se. I mean, you know,
you have chores.
Depending, there are specific situations, like if you're in a single family or single parent household, or, you know, there are certain situations where you probably have to grow up sooner, but that's not typical.
That's fair.
So, you know, and even in teenagers, and I can use my son as an example. He's 22, but you know, he grew up in the video game era. You know, that was his shtick, and even now, even then, it's like, well, no, you can't play video games for 8 hours a day. You can play for 2 hours a day.
Right.
So again, parents setting limits, but then teenagers rebel to that. They're like, you tell me what to do. I just want to do what I think. You know,
try to barter with you.
You know, if I were free, I would just play video games all day. The problem is that's what happens. And then people start failing at school. People start, you know, not being able to keep a job. People, it's just this funk that these young people get into. And you've realized, really, the bottom line is you realize you have no freedom at all. Adulthood doesn't bring you freedom.
But then what happens, Dave? movies sensationalize kids
Mhm.
that play video games. For example, the movie Gran Turismo. And
Yeah.
the guy made a career out of driving a race car on a video game first, and then
Mhm.
proved that he can do it in real life. So, oh, it's real. It can happen. I get it.
Right.
I understand it.
Well,
but then they
it could,
sensationalize that.
but the likelihood is very slim.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
as many video games as I played as far as sports and baseball. Yeah.
but they was sensationalized. Like, that's not what you
Yeah.
should be anyways.
So again, to review real quickly, the first stage is when people get locked in. They're trying to figure out what they want to do. They don't know what's right. They haven't lived life yet, so they don't have experiences to draw on. Stage 2, we get into separation, which is kind of just separating from whatever. You check out is what you do.
Mhm.
And people check out with video games,
Yep.
alcohol, pot, drugs,
Pornography. We talked about it. Yep.
sexual encounters.
Mhm.
So what happens is when you check out, when you do that separation, once you realize it, it's you've wasted so much time, and that compounds the problem, because now you think, well, oh man, I've just wasted 2 years of my life.
Right.
And now where am I going to go now?
Out of the whole grand scheme of things, 2 years, not that big of a deal.
Sure. But it could be longer or shorter, depending on people's situation. And then we move to the stage 2B, which is the timeout phase. And they think that once they separate, once I mentally check out, that I won't have to deal with this. So there's no external motivation, what we call extrinsic motivation.
Mhm.
They just feel like I just move back towards my old life because that's all I know. And that doesn't help either. Instead, people are waiting for this guarantee about their future, which never is going to come.
Right. Because they're
because they feel like, well, I put all this work in. How do I know it's going to work? You don't. That's the point.
I have my hand out.
Yes, your hand out. So stage 4 is rebuilding. And I think we ended in rebuilding last episode. So let me kind of, we'll start here.
Mhm.
The rebuilding stage, I take that back. Exploration would be next. And I think we hit on that the last episode.
Yes, we did.
So phase 3 is this exploration phase, which is, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to be. I don't know how to succeed. I don't know what I'm going to do for a life. But here is where you proactively try out things. It's kind of like testing the waters. It's kind of like experimenting, finding out what your interests are. And you can find things that are more aligned with your own, whatever it is, moral values or your own aspirations or your inner identity, something that clicks with you. And this is the big thing I talk about, especially with young people in therapy. I say to them, what would you like to do? Like what do you have fun doing? And a lot of times things like video games will come up.
Sure.
Or something insignificant like watching TV. That's all okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know that there are many careers for watching TV or playing video games. There probably are. That's probably not going to pan out, if that's what your aspiration is. But this exploration phase is the time for you to kind of to test things out and to do things. But here's the thing. What happens in this exploration phase is people get stuck because they already feel like they've wasted time. So now they feel like they're wasting more time just trying to figure shit out. That is, and there can be some resistance to this exploration phase because it's like, oh gee, that's a lot of work. I got to figure out what I want to do. I got to look at, what are my interests? I don't know what it's very, I'm trying to think of the word for it. It's very, disappointing is coming up. That's not the right word. It's very like self-deprecating that, I don't even know what I want to do. I just don't know what I want to be. What is my purpose in life? So during this exploration phase, it's important not to get stuck in this because and I've known people like this professionally, personally. They will get the shiny new object syndrome.
Okay.
But with careers. Okay. And I don't know if you've ever seen this before, Matt, but they'll be like, oh, I want to go into like medicine. Okay, maybe I can be a PA. So they go and they do, and they take the classes, and they think like, oh, I don't like this. Maybe I'll go into a skilled trade. Then they start that, and they don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, well, maybe I'll just maybe I'll think about college and just doing that and finding a major.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to define what direction to take, and that's the difficulty with this exploration phase is that you got to search till you find something.
Mm-hmm.
If it takes a year, it takes a year. If it takes 5 years, it takes 5 years. The point being is that you want to be able to spend the rest of your life doing something in your own mind that's either meaningful or rewarding or exciting on your end.
And I know I've said this before. It's like work like you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That means you enjoy what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have that purpose. You don't feel like you're going to work.
Right.
But it gets you out of bed and it keeps you motivated.
Right.
Okay.
And that's the other important thing is that this exploration phase, if it takes too long, you get adjusted, you get accustomed to not having that structure.
Mm-hmm.
Like as far as not a steady job or not a specific path as far as education goes,
right.
or not a specific path as far as even if you go to work, it's like, is this my career? Do I stay here? Do I try to move up here?
Right.
So this exploration phase is really, it's just about kind of just saying, you know what? Let's not worry about the future. Let's figure out, what do I want to do right now? Let me figure out something that appeals to me and then kind of build off of that.
Fair.
And that's stage 3 which is the exploration.
Got it.
So we are going to finish. I swear to you, we're going to come back for it's the next stage. There's one more stage and it's called rebuilding. And that's the important one because I'm going to tell you exactly how to move forward if you're in one of these situations.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this one is probably the most insightful, I think, as far as the study goes. So we are going to talk about rebuilding in the next episode, Quarter Life Crisis Part 6, and that we will wrap it up. This is the last stage.
Okay.
So
perfect.
We will do that.
Last stage.
So before we do that, if you're on Facebook Live, stick around. We're going to be recording another show right after this one. If you're listening to whatever platform you're on, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever, just jump ahead to the next episode, or it will be there Tuesday or Thursday.
Got it.
Awesome. So before we leave, somebody needs a home.
Who is it?
It's Wetzel. Wetzel is a hound mix.
Oh, bless you. What?
He's a neutered male. He's 80 pounds.
Wetzel.
He's a big dog.
Okay.
He's dog friendly as long as they're calmer dogs.
Okay.
Cat friendly is unknown. Kid friendly, 10 years or over.
Okay.
His activity level is low. So if you don't want a crazy, but Wetzel was born in 2018.
Okay.
So
6 years old.
Yeah, about that. So here's Wetzel.
Aw, look at that.
I know.
He looks like a
Look at that.
He looks like
he
a
just
cuddler.
he just looks like, I just want a home.
Yeah.
I just want somewhere to live where people love me.
Cute puppy.
There you go, man. If you can look up Wetzel close up.
Wetzel. What's up, W?
Cut it out, Wetzel.
What's up, W? He looks like a good.
What are you people?
He's a good boy.
On dope?
He's a good boy.
Yeah.
He just looks like a good boy. All right.
Doesn't he look like a good boy?
He does.
So Wetzel needs a home. It's Detroit Dog Rescue /adopt. Wetzel's ready to go home tonight.
Please.
Or tomorrow. Or whenever you hear this,
Adopt.
Wetzel needs a home.
Adopt him. Please.
All righty, folks. We will be back with Quarter Life Crisis Part 6, and we will wrap that up. And then I'll tease something next episode that we may be doing soon.
Okay.
All righty.
All right.
In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time. Thank you. In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast, we're finishing up Quarter Life Crisis. This is part 6. I know it's been a long slog, a long journey, but the information is important. And I think especially for young people from like 17 to 25, this is really useful information for you. Excuse me, folks, because you may have noticed I missed last week. I was super sick.
Yeah, I noticed.
And I'm like 90% back. So excuse the voice. But yeah, we're doing Quarter Life Crisis part 6, and we're going to wrap up here and give you a good direction on where to go with these things.
Perfect.
And as usual, we're giving away free stuff. Hang in there, folks. We'll be right back.
This sounds like something for the authorities in Detroit.
Well, joke's on you. I'm living to 102 and then dying, like the city of Detroit.
Guys like this antique over here out of Detroit.
Spawned in the hellfires of Motown. Take him to Detroit.
No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please! Anything but that! No!
Stationed in Drambuie. It's worse than Detroit.
We did not have, as a unit, the confidence that we felt like we needed to beat Detroit.
Let's go to Detroit. Now you're talking, brother. I don't think so. He plays for Detroit now.
Do they have many farms in Detroit?
Detroit. It's in Michigan.
I go to school. I know where Detroit is.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, my friends? It is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist. We're back here with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist podcast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. That is Matt Fox, the other voice you hear.
Happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. We're here in the Podcast Your Voice, Southfield Studios.
Yes.
It's palatial here.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a thing.
It's got a thing. We got a stand-up bar. We got all kinds of cool stuff in here. A fully stocked bar out in the other room.
I mean, yes, we do.
Well, for those of you who might want to do a podcast Your Voice. That's the place to go. Podcastyourvoice.com.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't pushed them in a while, but I walk in, I sit down, I do my show, and I leave. That's the extent of my effort.
Where's my that was easy button? That was easy.
I don't have anything that's like
now you're good.
Nah, it's all good. I was gonna try something.
Great heavens! What kind of radio show is this?
No, it's a fun spot to just come in and speak your mind. And if you have a passion, you sit down and you
talk about it.
You talk about it. We help you record. We do the light editing on the front and the back. And
they handle the RSS feed. If you don't know what that is, that's more of a reason you should call them or go to their website.
If you want statistics, we'll get you the statistics
absolutely
as well for every show.
In fact, you can probably follow those yourself if you do a podcast here. So yeah, check it out. Podcastyourvoice.com. Let me tell you where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Check that out. You can do a show quote within minutes. You can fill out a form to see me individually for hypnosis sessions for things such as stopping smoking, losing weight, reducing anxiety, sports performance enhancement, all of those things. I work with clients every day with things like this. And I will say, and I'm going to be totally transparent here because a lot of clinicians, a lot of hypnotists, maybe even will say, oh, I guarantee results. Now, here's the thing. I can guarantee results if you desire the results.
Sure.
That is the big thing. And I'll give you a real life example. Okay. I had a guy come in maybe 6 months ago, middle-aged guy, smoker, come into the office. The appointment was scheduled, whatever. So he comes and sits down and we started a conversation, and I always interview my clients up front.
Okay.
To make sure, what do you want from this? What is it you're hoping to accomplish? And I said to him, so what brings you here? And he goes, well, he says, I should stop smoking.
I should.
That's the first red flag, Matt. You caught it. You caught it right there.
Should.
And I said, you should. Well, do you think you should, or does somebody else think you should? And he said, well, my wife made the appointment.
Oh, sorry.
I
don't mean
so
to
I said, no, but this is important because this happens sometimes. So I said to him, I'll just use a fake name. I said, so John, do you want to quit smoking? And he's like, not really. And I said, well, I'm not going to take your money.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to, this is not going to work if you don't want it to work. That's the kind of the key of doing hypnosis,
right?
Is that you've made a decision. And I've said this in sessions to people, the decision's already been made. I'm just reinforcing what you've already decided. So if you have not decided to do it, it's not going to help you. Yeah. But that's not uncommon because
placating,
even with therapy, even with like general therapy clients, we will often get calls by somebody who's not the client and the client is an adult.
Yeah.
I mean, it does happen, but so I forgot where I was going with that, but it's okay.
Just, looking for a therapist, you need to be able to understand that they're going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a super, super important part.
Well, I would like to say that's a given, but it's not always.
Right. That's why I'm saying
yes, exactly.
It's super important.
Right.
That whoever you sit down, because there's so many folks out there that are in the industry, you don't know if they're hobby jocks. You don't know if they're.
Here's the other thing too that I'm going to say.
Educated
with hypnotists or even therapists, any mental health professional, it's just like any other profession. You're going to get good ones. You're going to get bad ones.
Right.
And unfortunately, you as the consumer or as the client,
patient,
you have to be confident enough to say, this isn't working. I need to see someone else.
Sure.
And I say to my clients on every first session, listen, if at some point during this process, you don't think you're getting what you need to let me know, because either we need to change something or we need to find you a different therapist.
Right.
Because as good as I think I am, I'm not going to click with everyone.
Sure.
And that's just a fact. You have to click with the person. It's just like finding a doctor. You need to find somebody that you're comfortable with, that you feel like has your best interest in mind.
At my age, Dave, I kind of understand that because I have an aversion to seeing doctors. And I saw a doctor for it took me a long time just to make the appointment, but when I made it, I was happy I did.
Good.
But I was somewhat nervous sitting down with someone I've never known to tell them about my personal business.
Right.
And I did just fine and I got what I needed, but I can understand the pushback.
Well, a lot of times clients feel like, or patients, where I like to use the word clients. Patients sounds like, I don't know, patient sounds more medical, but that's okay. But a lot of times I'll have clients who feel like, oh, this is just what I'm stuck with. I have to do this. No, you have a choice. If you don't like what's going on, you need to bring it up to your therapist or say, I need a new therapist.
Yeah.
It's difficult to do. I understand that, but it's for your own self-interest.
Have the cojones to admit it.
So if you go to my website, you can actually fill out a form either for hypnosis or for even regular therapy to come into our office. And you can go to our website and there are 10 different therapists, all different backgrounds, diverse, male, female. Find somebody that you feel like has a connection or that even, and I know reading doesn't always tell the whole story, but if you like somebody's bio and you're interested in them, just give our office a call, because that's the main thing. And
do it. Just
do it. Just do yourself a favor, take action, help yourself.
Thank you.
My social media links, Facebook and YouTube, are both Motor City Hypnotist, and on Snapchat and Instagram, Motor City Hypno, HYPNO. And as we've always done, this is episode 278, going all the way back to the beginning. Free hypnosis guide. Text the word hypnosis to 313-800-8510. In minutes, you'll have a PDF delivered to your phone along with a text from me or from my system. And it will say, thank you for, I think the text, and I haven't seen it. I'm sorry. I got to plead ignorance. I haven't seen the actual text on because it's on the client side, not on my side, but I could probably do it. But it says, thank you for coming to the show. in this case, it's the podcast. So
Yep.
just so you know,
Mhm.
and it'll give you your free hypnosis guide download, and it will also give you a link to a Google review for the Motor City Hypnotist.
All right.
So you can review the show, you can review the podcast, you can review a personal session, whatever it is you have, whatever connection you have, you can leave a review for that.
Cool.
Also, wherever you're listening, the important thing, subscribe, connect, join, whatever it is on your platform. And the big thing is leave a review. Reviews, I know this is kind of like a dead horse, but you know, I swear to you, every time I shop on Amazon, I will read reviews.
Sure.
And if it's a majority bad reviews, I'm not going to get it. I have a real life example of that. So my son and I, we kind of cobbled together a computer a few months back.
Mm-hmm.
Just bought the pieces online, assembled it. And 2 months later, this was probably like 3 weeks ago, the computer just kept shutting down.
Huh.
It wasn't working. It would turn on, be on for 10 seconds, boom, shut down. And I'm like, this has got to be a cooling issue.
Hmm.
The CPU is getting too hot. That's why it's shutting down.
Sure.
I'm almost sure of it.
No blue screen. Just shut
No
it
blue screen. Just shuts off. And the cooler that we put in broke. It was
Okay.
not working. So, and I went back to the Amazon reviews because my son picked these out. He did the research, and I went back to the Amazon reviews, and there were numerous reviews that said, hey, this worked fine for a month or two and then just crapped out. I'm like, gosh, dang it. But reviews give you information on a product.
No lesson like life.
So leave a review. That would be very helpful. That helps us get out to other listeners who might enjoy the show. It just helps us out. So please leave a review.
Yep.
All righty.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Wait.
That's how winning is done.
All righty.
Who is it this week?
This is a dog. We always love pet stories.
Yes,
we're a sucker for pets.
Let me just get ready for this.
Get ready for it. And I have a picture of the pet too. So from Washington State comes the story of a senior citizen being saved by his senior canine.
Okay.
Who risked her life obstructing traffic in order to find help.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
On September 25th, the unnamed 84-year-old owner of this beautiful pooch named Gita, Gita.
I thought you were going to say Lassie, but go on.
Fell, hurt his leg, and couldn't move.
What is it, girl?
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
What is it? What is it, Lassie?
What in blazes are you talking about?
Timothy fell in the well?
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Gita then ran down the main road where she stood on the paving lines waiting for someone to stop. She's standing on a double yellow line in a 2-lane road.
Great.
Just standing there.
Right.
That someone was Deputy Wright. Believe it or not.
With a W?
With a W. W-R-I-G-H-T.
All right.
Like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
No, that's good.
Oh, good for you.
So Officer
Wright
heeded the call.
That someone was Deputy Wright, who was patrolling that particular area of Stevens County. Seeing neither house nor owner, Wright alighted on the road to try to get Gita into his patrol car, but the dog wouldn't budge.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Visiting nearby residences, Wright couldn't identify the dog's owner. Sensing something was amiss, Wright went back to the dog, which was now lying on the center line in the road.
Mm-hmm.
Wright tried to move the dog yet again, but this time she took off up a steep, unmarked, poorly traveled side road.
Okay. So, really leading them to the well. All
Wright followed the dog, and it led him to a small summer cabin. He began checking around the area and observed an elderly male lying on the ground, calling for help a short distance from the cabin.
Good puppy.
The 84-year-old male, who also had other medical conditions needing regular medications, had fallen and injured his leg. He had laid there for hours and may have had serious consequences if he had not been found.
Sure.
We credit Gita for saving his life that day. The loyalty and heroism of our furry friends never cease to amaze us, the office wrote. Second cousin of the injured man, Pat Lolavera, praised Deputy Wright for following his instincts, and Gita, I don't know what it is, for her incredible intelligence and dedication. Commentators hoped they'd see more of the story on CBS Evening News or the Fox and Friends Animal Hour. So
rightfully so.
Here's Gita or Gita. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. You can take a look, Matt.
It's like a shepherd mix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's a senior dog.
It's a senior dog, literally standing in the middle of the road.
Yes, standing on the yellow line.
Standing on the yellow line.
Just blocking, just standing there, waiting for a car.
Well, that's interesting. The cop had enough time to take his phone out. And
yeah, right.
Click.
Yeah, if he took it, right?
Right. That's great. I love these types of stories.
No, I do too. We always love pet and animal stories, of course.
Yeah. Oh, good puppy.
Here, let me show you. Let me show those of you on Facebook Live. You can see Gita. There she is.
Yeah.
In the car and also in the middle of the road.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Good.
Nice.
Dog.
All right.
Good dog.
Good dog. Good boy. Fantastic. Or she might be a girl. Doesn't say.
Doesn't say.
Either way. Good doggy.
Yeah.
That's our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
One of my favorite scenes from Guardians of the Galaxy 3, the entire movie where he had called the dog, named it Bad Dog.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie. And then when he saved the dog saved the guy's life, he's like, "You're a good dog." He's like, "I knew it. I knew you thought I was a good dog."
Yeah, that's it.
So, back to it.
All right, we are finishing up Quarter Life Crisis. I swear. So I'm just going to quickly review. If you're just jumping in, maybe this is your first episode. Quarter Life Crisis is just. I'm going to be very quickly on the review. Just catch people up. You know, it's this realization from ages like 17, 18 to 24, 25. What am I doing? What is life? What is my purpose? What am I going to do? And the basic problem is you're expected to do things. And as a teenager, you know, in general, teenagers are rebellious in general, let's say, and they don't like being told what to do. And a lot of times parents will be like, "Oh, you're going to be this, you're going to do that. You should do this. You have this." So they're directed in many different areas and they just don't know where it goes. And what happens is they get locked in. They haven't really lived life yet. So they don't know how to do it. And they don't know where to go. And what happens is you start to feel trapped. Like it's like, what do I do? It's a sense of powerlessness and being trapped. Like, where do I go? What do I do? And then that goes into stage 2, which is separation, which is physically or mentally checking out. And that's a timeout, which again is just like, I'm just going to avoid it. I'm going to retreat back to what I've always been doing. And then nothing changes. And then stage 2B is the timeout, which again, you just stop doing anything. You just start to regress into your habits, drinking, video games, drugs, sex, whatever it is, TV. It just could be anything that just keeps you from moving forward. And then we talked about stage 3 is exploration. And that's when you say, okay, I need to get moving. I need to find out what do I want to be? What is my purpose? What do I want to do? In this exploration phase, it's new commitments to trying things and figuring out what works for you. This may take a long time. It may take a short time. The problem is you have to spend your time in exploration to get where you want to be.
Right.
So don't beat yourself up if this exploration takes years or if it takes 6 months. It doesn't matter. The point is you have to go through the exploration stage to get where you're going to go.
Right.
So today, on this episode, we're talking about the final stage, which is called rebuilding.
Okay.
All right. So rebuilding phase, it involves a renewed engagement with like long-term plans and commitments. So you're able to re-engage and look out into the future and not get sidetracked
or sucked back into the Venn diagram,
or just or push back into that exploration phase, or even further back. That is the problem. So in this exploration phase, the whole point is to find things that align with your own values and aspirations and inner identity. It's it's kind of like you're past the crisis, but now you're kind of focusing in on, okay, now where do I move forward? How do I go forward with this?
Okay.
Now, this again, rebuilding phase, it
sounds like it's starting over.
It pretty much is.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I'll put it in very simplistic terms. You have a bad accident. You have to recover.
Mm-hmm.
It takes time to recover.
Yes.
You have to rebuild.
Yes.
You have to get your strength back.
Yes.
You have to refocus.
Mm-hmm.
You have to figure out what you're going to do differently to prevent future injury.
Mm-hmm.
This all plays into it. And when this rebuilding phase starts, ideally, it's going to start with a stronger sense of intrinsic motivation. That's internal motivation,
mm-hmm.
not somebody else telling you what to do. It's motivation that's driving you to do what you want to do. Sometimes that sounds very simplistic, but most of us will say, I want to do what I want to do, not what somebody else tells me to do. It's ego comes into play there. It does, of course. So this sense of intrinsic motivation, once you start following that, it's more reflective of your personal interests. It's more reflective of your passions, of your desires, as compared to pre-crisis identity.
Mm-hmm.
Where you felt being forced into things or pushed into things or didn't have any direction as far as where you wanted to go.
You didn't know what you didn't know.
Right. Exactly.
But now you know a few more things because you've had a few other
absolutely
life experiences.
Well, and the other thing that helps with this, and I know people don't want to hear this, but sometimes you have to go through a crisis to make change.
Sure.
That's a human fact of life. Most of us, I'll give you great examples. I'll give you family examples. My mom had a heart attack when she was 48 years old.
Oh, that's an eye-opener.
Massive heart attack. Yeah. And
that's young.
At that point, that's young, very young
for a woman.
Yes, absolutely. And she had to modify a lot of things after that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't do as much as she should have. I'm just going to say in general, but it was kind of a shock. It was kind of like, whoa, things have to change here.
Sure.
So sometimes it takes a crisis to help us to make change. So you have to go through this crisis for that change to happen in this rebuilding stage.
Right.
So, and here's the thing that happens a lot. People will kind of dwell in that past stage of being directionless and having no motivation or having no purpose or feeling worthless or feeling like there's no purpose to life. And it's easy to stay there. It's easy to go back to that because that's something that you've probably had, that you've been dealing with for such a long period of time. As weird as it sounds, it becomes comfortable.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah. So phase 4, which is the rebuilding stage, it's really, again, it's very distinct, very clear goals of what you want. And it gives you a stronger sense of self and purpose. So here's the thing.
Go on.
The reason you get into this crisis in the first place is that you were trying to craft a life that wasn't your choice. It was what you were told to do. It's what you were expected to do. It's what the system told you to do. It's what school told you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, that's what got you into the problem in the first place. It's just doing what you were expected to do, even though for you, it wasn't right.
Right.
It wasn't fulfilling. It didn't make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. So here's the thing. When you start exploring yourself, here's the big point I want to make, and I bolded it for a reason. It's not about finding the right thing, because sometimes there is no right thing. There isn't something that's going to be perfect for you. There isn't something that's going to be like, that's it. That's the answer.
Okay. But isn't that what people are looking for?
They are. And I think that's the problem, that people are looking for the ideal and not the good, if that makes sense.
It does. And I want to share this with you because this just happened very, very recently, where I was having a conversation with a young person, and they aren't feeling so challenged at work. They know what their purpose is. Okay.
Yep.
They have that purpose, but they're not feeling challenged. They don't feel like they are ready to plateau in their career.
Right.
Okay. The reason why I'm telling you this is because of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Is because they have a really good work-life balance right now. They really do. But they're not ready to plateau. They're not being challenged enough at work. And that's where this boredom starts to come in. What do you help a young person do that already has that purpose, but is not feeling that challenge? But they don't want to mess up what the work-life balance is that they have, because it's really good.
See but see, that's kind of the trade-off question. Do you take what you have because it's really good and just let go on this other part?
Right. But they're not one to quit. They're not ready to sit back and just coast.
Which is admirable. That's a good attitude to have.
Okay.
I feel like somebody like that will eventually break through, whether it's where they're at or somewhere else, because at some point that drive and that motivation or that talent will overtake the
boredom,
the
comfort. Okay. Thank you. Okay.
If that makes sense.
It does. It does. And it's the advice I had given was, if it's something that you're bored, but you really don't want to mess up what you have going on with your current, situation, would be, you know what, I finished this. What is it that you can ask? What is it that you're working on that I could lend some help to? So you're not so bored, right?
Right.
So you're doing something.
Yes. Yeah.
And all you're doing in that process is proving yourself. You're becoming more invaluable to the team that you might be working on or what have you.
Well, and hopefully that in and of itself builds some sense of pride or some sense of confidence or some sense of being important.
So, and I tell you this, and I ask you that question because rebuilding never stops.
Right. Yes.
Once you are in rebuilding stage, you never want to stop rebuilding. Even though it feels like you might be starting over, whether it be a change in a career, change in a job, you're always going to have to get out there and rebuild something about yourself.
And it's funny you say that, Matt, because the next point on my notes, it says exploration is never 100% done.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, you can get pretty far,
sure,
but you never arrive. It's just like any human being. I don't care if you're 8 or 80.
Sure.
You can always improve. You can always make changes. You can always do something to make yourself better.
Rebuilding and exploration kind of are going hand in hand in this quarter life crisis.
Well, exploration is really kind of figuring out what it is, and then the rebuilding is putting it into practice.
Right.
Yes.
Right. As to what you explored.
Right. Exactly. Right? Yeah. What you found out in exploration, you're now implementing in rebuilding.
Okay.
And this is the tough thing, because it's easy to say, well, I'm not ready, or some people who may have maybe lower confidence or lower self-esteem might feel like, oh, I don't know. But here's the thing. The exploration phase leads into this rebuilding phase. And like I said, I don't care if it takes a year. I don't care if it takes 10 years. As long as you're working towards that, that's the part that's going to be more rewarding for you. So when you start crafting this external life, this career, this
lifestyle,
self-awareness.
Okay.
It's always going to be evolving. It's always going to be moving. But the thing is, as long as you know that you're going in the right direction, that's the thing that people lack. I think most people who are depressed, who are just kind of just blah on life, there's nothing, they have nothing to look forward to.
It's that 18 to 25 year old, right? Those are the folks that might be depressed. They might not, because they don't have that direction. They don't have the gumption to go out and try to do something because no one's pushing them to do it.
Absolutely. Because now it's on them. But see, but that's the whole psychological FU is that, oh, nobody's doing it for me anymore. It falls on me now. And that's this transition into adulthood.
I'm sorry.
That my parents are not there to help me. I am on my own. That is overwhelming for most young people right now.
$15-16 an hour flipping burgers is not a career choice.
No. Although I will say, if it's all you can do at the moment, it's something.
It's something, but don't make it. Anyways, I have issues with that whole.
Well, it's those jobs, minimum wage jobs, are never meant to be career jobs.
What was minimum wage when you were a teenager, David?
Jeez, $4.50.
It had to be less than that, because that was
$3 something.
Yeah, probably.
I was a teenager in the late 80s.
Yeah,
early 80s into.
It was
no, I was 20 in 85, so early 80s.
I was 13 making $4.50 an hour.
Yeah, I was probably I when I graduated from college in 84, I worked in a group home while I was in grad school, making minimum wage.
Yeah,
so it had to be $4 or $5 an hour.
And now minimum wage is 15.
I have no idea.
16.
I don't even know.
But it's just you can't live off a minimum wage, and you gotta challenge yourself. You gotta get yourself
absolutely. So I want to end this rebuilding phase is that just stay with it, because here's the thing. Look at this like a process that hey, I'm in the last stage of this process.
Yeah.
Because I go back to what I said earlier. Crisis helps us overcome the lack of change.
Sure.
Crisis makes us take action. And without the crisis, you would never have the ability or the energy or the knowledge to move forward.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Of this study, 75% of young people are going through this. And it's kind of like we need to accelerate this process, because in general, just based on the study, typically it takes people to about 40 years to figure out where they're really at or who they really are. I mean, think about that. It's becoming increasingly, this world is different too. It's becoming increasingly difficult to live in. There's a lot of external pressures. I mean, I don't want to get on a whole soapbox as far as social media and expectations, and young people right now are subject to all kinds of information, and most of that information is false. That's the problem, because they feel like, I'm never going to be like that guy, but that guy's not real. That's just a portrayal on social media. And that's this disconnect with young people right now, is that, they see their friends. Oh, I'm graduating. Oh, I got a job. Oh, I've got a girlfriend. Oh, I'm having a baby. Granted, yes, those are all life events, but that doesn't mean somebody's happy.
Right.
It doesn't mean they're progressing. It doesn't mean they're getting better as a human being. And that's the difficult thing. You have to work on yourself. Don't compare yourself to other people. That is the big thing.
All right.
So I would say, as you go in this rebuilding phase, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I've said it before. Work with someone, get a therapist. And here's the thing, and I'm going to be totally blunt and honest. Therapy is not going to fix your issues.
No.
If you want to fix your issues, a therapist can help you. They're not going to fix it for you. So get some guidance, if whether that's from a family member, from a mentor, from a therapist. I don't care where you get it from, but just get that guidance to encourage you and keep you moving forward, and say, listen, you're in the rebuilding stage. You will get to where you want to be. Don't worry about the time frame.
Right.
Just know that you're going in the right direction.
I like that.
All right. So that is Quarter Life Crisis. We've wrapped it up, Matt. Unbelievable.
My God. I feel
it's been a while.
I feel a whole quarter of a life older.
I do. I am a quarter of a life older. But before we go, somebody needs a home.
Who's that?
Leia.
Okay. What is Leia dressed up as?
Leia is a female, 50 pounds. Unfortunately,
okay.
the breed is blocked out, but it looks probably like a. I'm making a guess here.
I'm pretty good at
maybe a lab. Maybe you're good at.
I'm pretty good
at. But here's Leia.
Yeah,
Princess Leia.
It looks like a little pity lab mix.
Maybe a pity lab mix.
Yep.
She needs a home. There you go, Matt.
Adorable.
Look at that black face.
Dog friendly, yes. Cat friendly, not quite sure. Kid friendly, yes. There's no age. So activity levels.
And I don't know. I don't know her age, because again, it got blocked out for some reason.
But this picture, she's clearly a puppy.
She's a puppy.
She's clearly
for sure.
A puppy. So,
yeah.
Oh, I don't even have the camera.
Oh, you don't have your camera on?
No.
There you go, Matt.
There you go. I'll put it on solo.
There you go.
Here's Leia in solo. She's a cute pupper.
She is cute. Look at that.
Look at the little. Look at.
I was just gonna say little white paws.
Little white paws.
Right. Little white chest.
Aww.
Yeah. So Leia needs a home.
Leia boots.
DetroitDogRescue.com/adopt.
Yep. There you go.
Leia wants a home right now.
Yep. There you go.
She's ready to go.
Love it.
All righty, folks. That is it for this episode. We will be back next week with another new episode. I don't know what it'll be yet. We're going to do something Halloween related because it's Halloween season.
Yes, it is.
We'll figure out something. Maybe we'll do a top 10 list. We haven't done that in a long time.
We haven't. We should do a top 10, not Halloween songs or movies, top Halloween costumes.
Oh, good call, Matt.
All right.
There it is.
Number 10.
Oh, good for you.
Number 10, Mike Myers. Number 9.
Like this in the background. What the fuck
Mike
is it
Myers.
with you?
Number 8.
So yeah, we'll do that.
Mike Myers.
We'll do a Halloween special countdown for our next episode. I've already planned it. We just decided. In the meantime, folks, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We'll see you next time.